Okay, first thing I recommend you do is that you have a folder. I called it chosen models or favorite models or my best models, my 3 super Y models, however you want to call it, I don't know. And together in that folder, you should place project A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, or Pepe, Juan, and Pedro, well, however you name those 3 that you selected. You know the color code as you place them in panel 1, so just remember that color. And also you need in that folder the base project. So I recommend you place them there and you name them properly. It's good that they're separated from such as this type of environment where it has like 1,000 things where you get a little lost. You're not sure what's going on. So separate those. Obviously you need to go to Rhino. I start with the base. Let me minimize this and put it somewhere here. Okay, and I recommend that you open each of those. I recommend you get rid of the dimensions in this case, so just delete the layer altogether and save that file, okay? And then go one by one and check in each of the files that they're actually clean. Clean means that only the element that you want should be in the middle and that should be in the 0, 0 coordinate, okay? Let me take this bit to perspective. You don't have to do that, but anyway. Again, 0, 0, and the scale is perfect, relates to the side that we constructed in the beginning. I'm gonna delete that layer again, delete layer. And here you should rename it to make sure it's project 1 or again, Pepito or whatever it is, okay? But you should do that with the 3 of them. So project B, there you go, that's another one. 0, 0 is perfect, the scale and the volume is inside of the proposal. Delete the layer and rename as project 2. Save and open the last one. And again, 0, 0, delete layer. The proposal is fit inside of the base project, so it's nice and looking, and there's nothing else but the proposal itself, okay? Good. Let's start with base project, and let's save it as. We save as, and we're gonna title base project, or actually exploded ISO, for example. And you can call it however you want, again, panel 2. Okay, so this is not anymore the base project. This is the beginning of the exploded analysis that I'm gonna be doing. First thing, we need to import. We import the project that we're working on, A. If we did a good job, it should come exactly corresponding with the base project but the project there. Now I'm gonna change the color to make sure we see that. So imagine this is a blue one, okay? They're corresponding. Again, because we did Boolean differences and so on, they should be precisely meeting one and another. Import project B. And again, as I add new projects, new layers are coming. And that's why I rename them, because otherwise, if you don't rename them, they will come into the same layer. No? I'll change the color. Fits perfectly, 0, 0. Import project C, another layer will come here as, see, that's the problem I had, no? So I actually renamed the layer of the other one project 2 and it comes together. So what I'm gonna do is, well, you can always do a trick of 100 here. You don't have to, if you rename them properly, it should be fine. New layer, project 3. I move this one here so I can select it independently. Change color, let's say green. And I moved it exactly 100, so I just do minus 100 and it goes back to the same spot. If you did a good job renaming the layers, you shouldn't have to do that, okay? I am not the best example, so it's good, we'll learn all together here. Okay, 3 projects, 3 layers plus another layer-based project. They're all exactly meeting the same environment. They're also sharing the 0, 0. Great. gonna save that, and now I'm gonna move them. If you remember the axonometric, I have the base project here, and then one of the projects to the back, the other one to the front, another one to the side. I mean, we can change this. It could be that they're going vertically or they could go horizontally. This is up to you. I'm gonna do a similar one. I'm gonna select, again, what I did is right click, select objects, and I'm gonna move them to the side. I'm gonna select the next one, select objects, and I'm gonna move them to the back. And I'm gonna right click project one, select objects, and I'm gonna move them here. Oops. Sorry. There you go. I can even go already to see how this looks in an isometric view. Maybe this is the one I want, or maybe I can choose a different isometric. There you go. Isometric doesn't matter if you're zooming out or in because it's isometric, doesn't matter, no? So, and even if you pan, it's not changing the perspective. If it was a perspective, zooming in and out modifies the view, and obviously if you pan as well. What does change that the isometric, obviously, if you orbitate, no, that makes sense. Okay, I don't like that one either. Let's see, southeast, maybe southeast, why not? I can still select and move them, always using the arrows to be strict about the direction of the offset. So don't use this arrow now going up. You want to make sure that that's the origin and the orientation of the displacement, okay? Okay, I'm gonna save that. Now we need sections, as I show here. The sections, they're plans and sections, so I'm cutting horizontally and vertically each of the projects, and I'm displacing or moving each of those sections or plans vertically or horizontally. The command section, it's what we need here, section. Press enter. It's gonna say what objects you wanna cut or section. You select from the top view, from the elevation, whatever is best to see your project in its entirety, you should actually go to that view. And what I did is Control Tab, so that's why I go fast from one to another, no? I went to the top, selected the entire thing, press enter, and I'm gonna do sections, means vertical cuts. That's why I go to the top view. And I'm gonna say from here to there, but I'm pressing Shift to make sure it's orthogonal, or I click on orthogonal to make sure it's orthogonal. I like to press Shift, which is a shortcut for orthogonal. And I'm gonna show you how that comes right after, no? As I create the cut and press Shift, look at the parallel view on the top right. It creates in yellow the section. You can do 2, I think it's more than enough. When you're done, you can click Enter and move the sections because they're still selected. Those are 2 sections, and I know because in the top view, I can see one here and the other one there, no? I can move them a little bit more, and what I'm doing is pretty much imagining this drawing and how far away they should be, so each section, it's independent from the rest, so it's not disturbing the other drawings. Okay. To create cuts that are horizontal, meaning plans, I'm gonna go instead to the right view, for example. I'm gonna show both of them. And in the right view, I can select the entire model. I could actually select from the axonometric or from the perspective, if you feel more comfortable, and then do the section command from the right view to create the plans. Again, pressing Shift to make orthogonal. Another one here. Shift orthogonal, press enter when done. And here I can take these guys down, for example. And down. Notice that, imagine it's approximately this is the view. The plan here is on top of the drawing, so maybe I want to displace these guys a little bit further down. I can fix some of those settings as we move forward. Okay, that one. I can do almost everything from the parallel view. I can select these and say section, and then I can go to the right view or the front view and create one single plan. I think for this one, it's more than enough. Press enter, bring it down, and I'm gonna leave it closer just because it's cuter as I have here, or as the student made here. And then again, section, the project here, go to the top view, and let's say this section. Go to the axonometric and bring it to the side. I have to do this, whatever I did for this model, for this other model. So I'm gonna go a little bit fast about it. Select, section, top view, press shift to make sure it's orthogonal, enter, go back to the perspective, and I'm gonna take them to the side. Select, section, to the front view, for example, to create two plans, pressing shift, and move them down, for example, or up, whatever, why not? And again, maybe they have to be distant a little bit more. We'll see that later. And section, select from the top view, one section, two sections, enter, and displays, remove these guys here. I can move them a little more to the side. And last section, go to the front or right view, doesn't really matter. Shift to make it ortho, enter when done, and I'm gonna take these guys down, okay? Okay, I should probably start moving things around. So what I'm gonna do is from this view, these are the two, let me see if you can see this better. What I'm doing is selecting from the best possible angle, but checking how the parallel view looks so I can imagine how this drawing is gonna be, no? So I'm going here, selecting those plans, and I'm placing them more or less aligned with the other plans here. Oops.
So for the alignments, they don't have to be exact. It's just like if they look like they are.
They have to be clear, I would say. They have to be, each of the drawings need to be obviously related. We will do this later with the axonometrics, but they need to be understood as individual drawings. No? So you decide how far down or up or right or left. They don't have to be aligned, but it looks good that this section and that one are in appearance aligned, so it feels like more organized, no, as a drawing. That's what I did here. I selected these two, and I just pretty much made it approximately the same alignment as those, but they're not, though. Okay, those are probably needed to be separated more. I mean, here's where you can do whatever you want, in the sense that you can actually, put them all stack up and then have only plans if you think it's planned that you want to show, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let's imagine this is it. I'm not sure because I have to go to the set view isometric southeast. And now you have to kind of criticize your own drawing. There's going to be a relationship line here, another one there, another one here. I would say those could be distanced a little more. Maybe this one a bit up. And maybe this guy's a little bit down. Okay, I like it. Once you're there, make sure you're in the set view isometric, whatever you have chosen. You can zoom out and in. Again, never orbitate, because that's what distorts the isometric. So stay there. You can scroll out and select, make 2D, the whole thing. We only need one single view, and obviously the parallel view, which is this view. And we want hidden lines, etc., etc. It's going to take a little more just because there are 3 or 4 models, depending on their complexity. You're going to have more layers because you will have the layers of each of the proposals. And we can take a look. These ones will come with their own layer, in hidden lines, invisible lines, etc., and we're good. From the top view, file, export selected, Illustrator. I don't think there's anything new here. You can place it whatever you think is best in the folder you created. Loaded ISO Illustrator. I don't think I have Illustrator open, so let me open that. I do have panel 2 open because I want to show you how you will place it. You don't know exactly the size of this, but you have to think approximately that you need like an area. So pretty much zoom into that and think, oh, I think I'm gonna need approximately 1 or 2 for 6 inches, more or less, of a model, no? So you can go to Illustrator and create a paper space like that. I'm gonna open it first, the one we just created. It comes however it wants to be, small or big, depending on the paper size that you created. So I'm gonna create a new one, Control N, I did, and I'm gonna just do a custom one of just 10 by 10 or something like that. It could be 8 by 8. Depends on how big you think is gonna be in the panel, maybe 8 by 8 makes more sense. Okay, that brings you that file. Now select with the V tool, called Control C. Before you paste, as always, just make sure that Paste Remember Layers is set. And now you paste the thing, so you have a lot of layers, not just the classic 3 or 2 or whatever you've been doing, no? Scaling, obviously pressing Shift to make sure that this is not distorted. And I can center or not, you know, it's up to you, because you're gonna have to move it again in the InDesign. Okay. What do we have here? We have a lot of layers, makes sense. Again, for each project, there's a hidden line and a visible line. There's also a new one, it's called like, I believe, I don't know, it's base, no. There should be one for the sections, we'll see it now in a moment. There is a default one. Okay, you could have changed those as well in Rhino before taking them here and say, hey, this guy and this guy should be in a different layer, etc., etc. But I don't think it's that difficult to change, because you can pretty much select them manually here. I recommend that you organize all of this a little bit first. I would place all of the hidden layers underneath, one by one, to make sure they're always underneath the visible ones, no? So the package of visible is there, and the package of hidden is there as well. Okay, now you can start selecting, no? This is the visible lines for the blue, maybe that's the color you want, maybe not. If what I recommend is you go to your first panel and say, well, that project is red, so you change the red color for it, no? Regardless, you're gonna have to adjust a little the thickness, maybe it's a little less, a little more. And definitely the hidden lines, notice how big they are. You need to maybe select all of them at the same time, which you can. You can select pressing Shift from hidden and then Shift again here. No, that didn't work out. You can press Control, sorry, one by one. Those are the hidden lines. And you change those, maybe a little brighter. And definitely the dash line should be smaller, maybe 2 and 2. We'll see how that looks. There you go, it's a little bit thick, so we're gonna select those again by pressing Control. I'm pressing only the hidden lines, not the default one, because that's a different thing. Actually, I could as well, whatever, why not? And again, I change the lightness of the grayscale, the dash line, 2 and 2, and then the thickness of the hidden line probably should be thinner. even to the point of 0.25. Maybe even smaller dash. There you go. Looks sharp and nice. Now I can go to the visible ones. Select one visible. And again, as I did, 0.75 in blue. The other one could be, this one could be a different color. 0.75, and I'm gonna keep it purple. Next, whoops, this is the default. I'm gonna drag the default ones on top of the hidden lines. There you go. Base project, I did already. This one is red, so I'm just gonna change thickness to 0.75. Again, you can change the color here to adapt it to your panel 1 logic. And panel 3, 0.75, and that's good. Needless to say, if you want to also to place a rendering, I mean, I'm not requiring that, but you can place a render of each of them independently here because they're PNGs. The background is transparent, so you will have renderings behind this. Or there's another option I also talk in the section. You can always turn off the hidden lines, all of the hidden lines off, and what you can do is just start painting with a paintbrush, that we've used several times. Your live paint bucket, sorry, and then you can select and paint in different colors, which creates a very nice diagrammatic type of drawing and very clean drawing. But I think if you want to use color, you can use the rendering, you can use also the live paint bucket, or you can just use, as I'm doing here, the line color. I would say that the sections are a little bit thick, so I'm going to select that default one and make it thinner. And again, you can do many things with that. You can also, if you were to do nice sections that are very strong in image, you can always select the default live paint bucket and then start painting like that in black. So you have a black pattern. Those are nice type of drawings. It might take a little bit in the beginning, but it's like a quite fast process. I'm not asking you to do this, but it's a very fast way. I select it first and then I say live paint bucket, So they look like very cool, I would say. I could also have them over here in that part, or I can just leave those transparent. Okay, so notice that here in the final result, there's these lines that somehow give us a reference of where they're coming from in a way, So what I will do for that is just a new layer. I will call that layer something like ref lines or whatever. I will probably put those all the way in the top, and I will draw with that layer using the pen tool. And you can use also the line tool, to be honest, that's fine. And we definitely don't want fill, so get rid of the fill there. And you can just don't click on the corners because the pen tool wants to anchor to other drawings, so just step a little bit outside of that. And wait, it's not here. Here to there. Notice how thick it is, so you want to change that definitely to a thinner one. And maybe this outline is just bigger, like a 3 and 3 and grayscale. And then as you continue, you can start doing the process of linking these guys. No, I could even take it all the way here. Again, don't touch the corner. Step a little bit outside of that. And don't reach the end either, especially if it's the pen tool. And from here to there. Okay, and then from here to here. And then pen tool P from here comes down to there. Maybe they're not that clear, so we can always change the layer. And that's the good thing about choosing layers, that you can select the whole thing at once. Make it a little thicker, for example, maybe a little darker, no? Okay, I think it looks good. Don't have complaints, at least. I can make another one here from this point to there. Nice. I'm placing one, but you can always place a couple of them, like here, you can have another one, you know, so you can be even in the corner if you want to be very, very specific. You know, you can have more and more or less and less, whatever you think is best. Okay, and corner. Corner. I think it looks good. Again, more and more could be added. It's just that it has to be clear to the eye what's going on here, no? Oops. And last but not least, there you go. Save. You give it in your name. You can even overwrite the previous one you did. Okay. And last phase, you can imagine you go to your InDesign panel, no? I'm not asking you to keep these guys. These are non-print again, as I've done other times. You can delete the whole thing, or one by one as you add them. You can save file, place, and class work, explode it. And normally you will click once, and it will come with the scale that you intended to, no? Maybe a little bigger. So within that parameter, you can always scale down a little bit. Or for now, you leave it there because you're not sure what other ingredients come. So you leave it there and you're happy about it. And then you will reorganize depending on the other ingredients as they come, no?